Have you ever noticed how many sayings there are that are rooted in the farm life and farm experience? Sayings like, don't cry over spilled milk, or don't catch your chickens before they hatch. Things like, make sure you don't get the cart before the horse, or don't close the gate after the horse has run out. We call people silly geese, because you know what? Geese are pretty silly. And we call people hogs and pigs. And there's a reason for that. And let me show you. Pigs don't wait. They don't take turns. They shove each other out of the way, and they'll chase you down for an extra treat. Having my own farm has brought a lot of these old sayings into better focus. I realize the truthfulness behind them. And it's that kind of insight that's going to help us better understand today's meditation about Jesus and the fig tree. So yesterday was Palm Sunday, and Jesus experiences a triumphal entry. He goes to the city of Bethany to rest, and it's the next morning, it's Monday morning of Holy Week, and Jesus is journeying from Bethany to Jerusalem. And on his way, he encounters the fig tree. And it says in the Gospel of Matthew in chapter 21, early in the morning, as he was on his way back to the city, he was hungry. Seeing a fig tree by the road, he went up to it, but found nothing on it except leaves. And then he said to it, "May you never bear fruit again." Immediately the tree withered. When the disciples saw this, they were amazed and said, "How did the fig tree wither so quickly?" And it's interesting, this account, both in Matthew and in Mark, is that when Jesus walks up to this fig tree, it says that it has no fruit. It just has leaves. And Jesus is frustrated by that. And so he curses the tree. And this becomes probably one of the most mysterious incidences of Jesus' life. It seems petty and irritable of Jesus to just curse the fig tree because it doesn't have any figs. But it's not the season for figs. And it says that in both the accounts. But what's interesting is that figs in Israel, just like living on a farm gives us insight into the farm life, understanding a little bit about figs in Israel can help us understand this parable and make it just a little bit less mysterious. The fact is that figs don't bear fruit until June. But in March, about the time of Passover, when the figs begin to leaf out, they develop these little nodes or nubs on them, where the figs will eventually develop, and they're called tequash. And this tequash is edible. You can gather it. And so travelers and the poor and peasants would, if they saw at the time of Passover a fig tree and leaf, have a reasonable expectation that they could walk up to it and gather these little nubs and then eat them for nourishment. So when Jesus saw this fig tree and leaf, he had a reasonable expectation that he was going to find fruit that he could eat. Not figs, but fruit, this tequash. Now, this incident happens in relationship to the cleansing of the temple, which is going to happen on this day, Monday. And when Jesus goes to the temple, it has all the appearance of holiness. And he's going to go to the temple with the reasonable expectation of finding God's will being enacted there. But he doesn't. He's disappointed. And so this parable of the withering of the fig tree, in many ways, is an enactment of what's going to happen, the judgment that God is going to bring on Jerusalem. And it's interesting because prophets like Isaiah, Jeremiah, Joel, Micah, and Hosea all use the image of the fig or the fig tree when talking about judgment. And so this fig tree without fruit is going to represent the judgment that's going to be coming on Jerusalem, which we see worked out when Jesus cleanses the temple. The expectation of God's will being lived out, and yet finding that it's not. And so this is Monday of Holy Week as Jesus journeys to Jerusalem.